Star Platinum! What's up, guys? Dylan Moon here, and I just finished JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, Stardust Crusaders. I'm in the middle of Part 4 right now, and the series is really, really fucking good, guys. It's amazing. I waited a long time before I finally got around to it. I'm watching the anime. I'm not reading it. I'm watching the anime, and I do like the anime a lot. I like how the colors are will change and stuff. Um, it has amazing openings, but anybody that hasn't watched JoJo's, I suggest you do it. It's very, very fun, and as goofy and random as it can be, it can also be extremely serious and very action packed. It's top notch. It's obviously like a cult classic, super fucking popular in Japan. Um, I'd say that I liked because I'm just gonna talk about parts 1 through 3 in this video. I'd say I liked part 3 the most, and then part 1 the second most, and then part 2 the least, but I still liked part 2 a lot, and I love Joseph as a character. Um, Jotaro's my favorite character in the series that I've met so far, by far. Jotaro's so fucking badass, I can't get over it, man. You really just are trying to see, what that motherfucker is gonna say, how badass he is going to get. Um, I really enjoyed, to talk about part 3 since it's the freshest on my mind, some of the fights I enjoyed the most with the stands would be versus Darby, both Darby brothers. I found it really, really, really interesting. Um, just not Joseph, but Jotaro bluffing, and then him having Joseph use Hermit Purple to control the controller. Just the whole thing, I really enjoyed it a lot. As well as the whole tarot. I love the whole tarot card thing where each of the stands represents a different tarot card. Um, the abilities were all over the place. They were abstract. They were fucking. The stakes were high. Part 3, all three of them actually. JoJo's is a really, 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 it has emotional moments in it where, most other series, they will not, kill characters. They'll, act like they're gonna kill them and then the person will come back. In JoJo's, they will fucking kill characters. Since the parts are, shorter than an actual, full-length manga, since it's in parts, they have no problem killing characters because it would have nothing to do with the next, then they're gonna replace all the characters so soon anyways that they don't mind killing fucking Caesar, Jonathan, Abdul, Iggy, Kakyoin. So that's something that JoJo's really gets right, is that they actually kill people and make it emotional. When Caesar died, man, I really thought we were gonna get a Joseph and Caesar fight, both of them together, just like in the part 2 opening. Caesar was a badass son of a bitch. He might be, I'll say one of my favorite characters I've seen so far. He might be my favorite side character that I've seen. Actually, I would guarantee that he is my favorite, not Joestar. I thought, parts 1 through 3, how it really ties everything together is brilliant. There's obviously going to be a lot of spoilers in this, guys. So when you find out that it's Dio's head in part 3, you find out it's Dio's head on Jonathan's body. I thought that was a beautiful way to tie in all the storylines together and stuff, showing that I don't know, just the full circle stuff, the everything of part 1 was so relevant even to part 3, and as I get further and further into the parts, I hope to be caught up even to the manga by the end of this month. I hope that they really keep the ancestral thing going on, which I'm sure they will. When I found out that Dio and Jotaro had the same stand, I was like, oh my fucking god! I never saw that fucking coming. It was mind blowing. The ability of Dio's stand this the whole time, because I wouldn't say early on, but at a certain part in the series, you find out that Dio has the card, he has the tarot card. His stand is the world. So in my mind, trying to think of what his stand can do, I was thinking some reality manipulation, some kind of shit like that, but to stop time, like it was such a good like it was such an amazing surprise to find out that Dio can literally stop time, and then Joe Thoreau also gets that ability at the very end. I'm really glad Joe Thoreau's in part 4, by the way, considering he's my favorite character. Seeing him in part 4 like really hypes me up. But yeah, as far as my least favorite character is Polnareff. Like for some reason, I just cannot stand Polnareff. Like there were some moments that I enjoyed, like him and Iggy's fight against the stand user at Dio's mansion. I forget that stand user's name, but the one that used like the darkness. I enjoyed that, but for the most part, Polnareff was just a retard that I could not stand. Like his character just wasn't funny at all to me. It wasn't because I think he's meant to be like the comic relief, obviously, but I found myself liking even Iggy more than I liked Polnareff like easily, and Iggy had spent like such a small amount of time in the story compared to Polnareff. But I liked Iggy versus the eagle or the hawk. It was either Pet Shop or Pet Store. It was like Iggy versus Pet Shop, I think was what it was. But that fight was that was sick. It was like 2 episodes, and it was actually like a brawling fight. Because a lot of the fights in JoJo's Part 3, they're more of like puzzles it's like you have to figure out how to beat a stand, like with your wit rather than just like plummeting straight through him. And that one was just like brawling, like Iggy versus the bird. Um, Yeah, it was insane. That final fight was insane with Joe Thoreau versus Dio. Like that was climatic. It was fucking crazy. Joe Thoreau stopping his own heart with Star Platinum. From what I've seen, if I could pick any stand, it would obviously be Star Platinum. I mean, he has the hands. He has the fucking. He can see so precisely. He's so precise, and then obviously being able to stop time. Um, but part 3 was amazing. It was the best out of the 3 parts. Um, I do enjoy Joseph. Like I enjoyed Joseph's character so much in part 2. Like because really all I've talked about is part 3. But in part 2, like I love Joseph's personality and like his humor. Like it's so fucking funny. And at the very end, like with the where he runs away from cars and he gets in the plane and just like it was so over the top and crazy, and then them getting blasted into the stratosphere. I give the ending of part 2 a 10 out of 10. I think that they really missed an opportunity though with Caesar. That is my gripe with part 2 that kind of I'm probably never going to get over, is that Caesar was such a badass character and they didn't do anything. uh, they didn't, I don't know. Caesar's fight with Wamu was brilliant. I thought that he had him beat, man. When he had all the light refract off the bubble discs, it was it was insane, man. It. I just wish Caesar wouldn't have died. Like I wish he would have died at the end. Like I kind of thought he was gonna die just because of the whole history repeating itself, and Zappelli in part 1 obviously kicked the bucket, who's another one of my favorite characters. But I really thought that we were going to get more out of Caesar, and he probably is my favorite side character out of the JoJo series. I also love how Joseph like predicts like what people are going to say. Like it's like the funny thing I like, and how he uses like extremely obscure ways to beat people. Like he's just so random in his approach and creative on how he's going to beat you. um Part 1, I enjoyed how tragic the ending of it was, because especially knowing nothing about JoJo's and going into it, and then getting to the end of part 1 and the main character just straight fucking dies. I was like, holy fuck! Like because you love Jonathan, you grow attached to him, he's such a badass, and then he just fucking he dies. He's so short-lived. Like his moment of glory was so short, like in order to defeat Dio, and then they bring it back, and that's what made part 1 so good. It's just like how tragic it was at the end that fucking Jonathan just dies, and then how they bring that back to part 3 about Dio being a combination between Dio himself and Jonathan I just think it was all a beautiful touch. I would give this series a 10 out of 10. That's kind of, I'd give it an 8 or 9 out of 10. It's pretty much flawless to me for what it is. It doesn't try to be anything it's not. Like, it's funny at times. It's really random. It has like that random zany anime element to it. But then the fights are intense. They're interesting. Like, the whole stand system is so unique on just like the stand v stand fights and how it's like matchups and how stands can just have ridiculous fucking abilities and just how they work with you have to in order to see a stand you have to have a stand, and then in order to do damage you have to do in order to damage another stand you have to use a stand. So really stand on stand combat is the only thing that'll work, and how if your stand gets hurt you get hurt because a stand is an extension of yourself. It's an extension of your willpower, and just that whole thing I found myself really intrigued by. I can't wait to get to the manga parts, like where it's at now with weekly or monthly chapters, however it goes. And even like I know part 5 anime is still going out, so I'm really really hype, and hopefully by the end of this month I will be caught up on JoJo's. So yeah guys, if you haven't watched JoJo's, go watch it. It's not a long series at all, and it is definitely worth it. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you would like to join the Yakuza.